is another interesting edition of the Market Review where we bring you key developments in the financial and capital market as it affects the economy. Today, we'll be discussing leveraging technology and innovation for a competitive market. With me to have this conversation is Mr. Seyi Owotoro. He's the President and Chairman of Council, Institute of Capital Markets Registrars. But before we begin this conversation, let us take a recap of the market stories from last week. And it's nice to have you, Mr. Seyi Owotoro.
Thank you very much, Owotoro. Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yes, thank you. The Nigerian Exchange Limited announced the relaunch of its market-making program effective October 4, 2021. This comes on the back of the review of its rules to provide the flexibility to implement diverse market-making program across all asset classes listed on the exchange, as approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission. This is designed to deepen liquidity in the market. Also, during last week, the Nigerian Exchange Group made history post-demutualization as it carried out a listing by introduction of 1,964,115,918 shares in the Nigerian Exchange Limited under the ticker NGX Group. It was also a very eventful week for the Securities and Exchange Commission as it collaborated with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to host a workshop to sensitize the EFCC officials on the operations of the Nigerian capital market in Lagos. The director for SEC Zonal Office Lagos, Mr. Stephen Falomo, in his remarks said SEC supports the EFCC with up-to-date knowledge of the intricacies and workings of the capital markets and some useful information on investigations of financial crimes emanating from players in the capital market space. We go on a break, and when we return, we'll go on with this conversation.
Tune in to Web TV Daily to stay up to date and informed on the financial market, personal finance, and more. We have got you covered with all your favorite TV shows, economy and politics, market review, women's series, millennial talk, Islamic Finance Weekly, The Brief, exclusive interviews, events, and we keep you up to date on all the updates in the financial market with the market opening gong. Watch premium content. Watch Web TV. Same news, different perspective.
Welcome back. If you are joining us, it's the Market Review, and our guest today is Mr. Seyi Owotoro, is the President and Chairman of Council, Institute of Capital Market Registrars. Once again, thank you, Mr. Seyi, for joining us.
It's my pleasure, Owotoro. It's nice to be here.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, let's first begin with the big story from last week, which was the Nigerian Exchange Group listing on the Nigerian Exchange Limited. This is a significant step post-demutualization that is taking. How do you see technology playing a key role in driving a more connected, vibrant, and dynamic exchange group in Nigeria?
Yeah, interesting, Owotoro. An interesting question. Technology is not only key. I think technology is really the engine that will drive that integration. Good enough that this listing couldn't have come at a more auspicious time because of the experiences from COVID and the lockdown that we experienced sometime last year. It's interesting that the exchange has traded virtually since that lockdown. The trading of the exchange has actually been virtual. That gives you an indication of the resilience of the current platform that the exchange operates from. The closing gong ceremony and also the event for listing by introduction, which happened Friday last week, was held virtually. In the past, that would have been physical. Yeah. And you see the exchange also collaborating with the Securities and Exchange Commission to deepen the impact of technology on the capital market. Yeah. So for me, really, technology is not just a key, it's the engine that will drive it. If we are looking to democratize investments and bring in more people, the only way to do it is technology. Everybody is holding a mobile phone, today, meaning that a lot of the trading we're doing today can be done through your mobile phone. So the exchange just acts as a platform and a regulatory entity to make sure that people are connected in such a way that is regulated, but technology will drive all of that process. So it's we can't do without it, really.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that you said technology will be the tool to democratize investment because it's long overdue. I mean, when you look at the percentage of retail investors. I mean, we're not even up to like 10% of the population. So that means that if you're going to leverage technology, it's time to do it and do it big time. Now, in a recent conversation, your industry, which is the registrars community, was tasked with the fact that they need to leverage technology to improve the process for issues like dividend payments. It has been a very major conversation that we have a high level of unclaimed dividends in the country, even going by the recent SEC CMC meeting when he spoke about the unclaimed dividend issues. I want to speak about technology and how the registrar communities are taking this up to address those issues and ease the whole issue of payment of dividends and encourage more who have not claimed the dividends to do so.
Another interesting question, Tobasi. I think sometimes people who are not involved in the process sometimes don't see the level of detail that is required for some processes. All right. Registrars today have leveraged technology significantly for major aspects of their operation. So imagine coronation registrars, for example, where I was the MD. Access Bank was one of our clients, paying dividends twice a year to almost 1 million shareholders. That process can only be efficient through the deployment of technology. You can't do it otherwise. All right. So today, registrars are leveraging technology, but you see, there are certain limitations to the use of technology. One very key element to the use of technology is that you have accurate data. All right. If I'm going to press a button and people are going to get paid from my pressing a button, it means that I need to have accurate data on the people I'm paying. Yeah. All right. So there are legacy issues where people have bought shares. All right. The registrars don't have complete information about these people. So it becomes impossible to pay them. All right. So the key to solving this problem really is to ensure that as more people enter the system, we are capturing their full information that will enable registrars to effect corporate actions. But you see, the legacy issues have to be dealt with in a very systematic system. One of the things we've been able to achieve with SEC is to say, look, if you are trading, all right, you need to update your records, just like CBN did when they were saying that people should come and sign on to BVN to ensure that they have complete information about bank account holders. It's the same process we're going through. But unfortunately, out of the about 15 million investor accounts, all right, only about 450,000 are active.
Out of 15 million, 450,000 are active.
After 15 million, only about 450,000 are active. Wow. Meaning that even if you are saying that you can't trade if you don't update your records, all right, only 450,000 are trading. So what do? The rest of the people that are not trading, the registrars don't have, not all of them though, but if you have records, it means that the registrar does not have your complete record. So I can't pay you with the click of a button. So the solution here is to ensure that we find the ways around ensuring that everybody who has an investment account updates their information to be sure that the registrar can make that payment when the payments are due. So without that, and then to ensure that the people coming in newly, we have full information about them so that when it's time to pay dividend, the registrar is not telling stories. Until we achieve that, for the people who are yet to complete their records to enable registrars pay, you find that on payment day, the registrar is not able to effect that payment. Don't forget also that there's a new rule of SEC which says that if you don't mandate your account for electronic payment, you can't receive dividend. So while trying to solve one problem, we're creating another, because the man that used to get his physical check before now cannot get that check, and he has yet to update his record. So maybe it's time to say, let's relax that rule and let registrars post out warrants so that it can even trigger some people's interest. Maybe they've even forgotten they have investments. So maybe that's the way to go.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So we need a balance of a relaxed regulation around the process of payment that's mandating people that they must do it the E-level, because like you rightly said, technology has to be leveraged effectively. Infrastructure has to be so cut across that people can really do that. So I've taken note of that very clearly. Now, what's your assessment of the advent of digital sub-brokerage firms in the market? Chaka received the first ever license from SEC Nigeria, and definitely we are getting other signals of others to come. I'm saying this because of the millennials who are very critical to our market. I mean, they've been trading globally, and now we have an opportunity to get them on board. Will this spur them to participate more in the Nigerian capital market?
You know, whether we like it or not, the disruptions will happen. Technology has come to disrupt many industries. And the only thing standing against the likes of Chaka today and disrupting the entire ecosystem of the capital market is regulation. If you remove regulation, Chaka will take the rest of us out. So we have to do it in such a way that it does not disrupt while improving the way business is done. We're ensuring that regulation is not being breached, all right? So regulation is still there to ensure that investors are protected, because that's why we need an orderly market, where information flows in a certain way that is democratized, such that some people don't take advantage of the system. So Chaka coming in is even overdue, if you ask me. You look at the likes of Robinhood, all right?
US.
Robinhood listed, and I think $30-something billion, all right? And Robinhood does commission-free trading. So you ask yourself, how are they making money, all right? But that's not our conversation today. But the point is that the more Chaka will come, all right? And we need them, because the speed to market is critical. The reason why the millennials are going to Bitcoin is because they are doing it from the comfort of their homes. Convenient. All right. They are doing it on the road as they are walking. All right. We need to get to that stage where I can buy shares as I'm walking on the road. All right. So we need more Chakas. If you ask me, we need a lot more of them. But there's a way that has to be done in such a way that the investors are still protected. And it's nice the way the SEC has gone about it. I think what Chaka has is a sub-broker license, but I'm waiting for the day when Chaka will get a full brokerage license, and then the game becomes a lot more interesting. Thank you.
It's more interesting when they get the full brokerage license. But I like what you said, speed to market. I mean, the fact that someone can use his or her phone and buy out. I mean, you know, the millennials, they always with their phones. So that's where we have to go. And all the market operators drive into that quickly before it's too late. Now, from your experience and interaction with the global market community, what's the best way to utilize technology to deepen market education down to the grassroots level? I took what you said, that it's important that technology becomes the tool for democratizing investments. How do we do this, from even down to the suya seller, to the woman that sells vegetables in the markets, even to the people who are driving keke? As a means of livelihood, how can everyone connect, leveraging technology, improve their investor education?
Well, I remember I was on subcommittee of the SEC at some point where we discussed around investor education and bringing in children to understand the capital market. And one of the things that we looked at was developing games that will allow you, for example, you can create virtual wallets where you can use to trade. You are trading, say, Access Bank, Dangote, MTN, but they are not real shares. And they are games. And you find that you allow them to build portfolios. So at the end of the day, the person that has the biggest portfolio, these games will mimic what is happening on the exchange, all right? So they are trading the shares, quote and unquote, based on the prices. So the person that has the largest portfolio, for example, at the end of the period gets an award. Just imagine us coming up with such a game for secondary school children, for primary school children, and you have a big bank ceremony like Big Brother Niger. The idea is that we have to make it exciting, all right? Bitcoin is exciting because there's a whole lot of noise about Bitcoin. All right. So we have to create that buzz, that excitement, and it has to happen seamlessly.
Yeah.
Today, even people are buying shares in other jurisdictions with feature phones through what do you call it? These codes. What do you call these codes?
Yeah.
I forget the name now. You use a code to buy shares. It returns. It says how many units you want to buy. You place the number of units. So you really don't even need a smartphone to be to connect to this ecosystem.
Yeah.
You can use feature phones. So it's just a question of being creative around how we do what we do and understand that we are competing against other sectors that have gone far ahead of us. Today, I'm outside the country, all right, today, but I can still load my phone. I can still load my phone with credit using my mobile app, all right? I can still pay people. I can buy and sell, all right? And I'm doing all that on my mobile phone. So the question is, when is the capital market going to get to that stage that I can be in Russia and I'm talking to my broker on my mobile phone? When I say talking now, I'm talking to their systems. I'm not talking to them physically because the millennials don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
All right. So we bring it to the level of the common man. The common man understands trading, buying and selling. The average Igbo man understands I buy something at 1 naira, I sell it at how much naira. So we understand basic trading. So how do we bring this thing down? In terms of content, there are creative people that understand how to create content.
Yes.
In terms of investor education. So there's a bit more to do. And for me, I don't think that we should leave it to the regulator alone. The ecosystem, we as the ones making money from this system need to be a bit more ingenious as to how we create awareness for the industry that we play in, really. Thank you.
So market operators have to also take a very bold step in supporting the investor education, leveraging technology. So I hear that very well. Not just regulators like SEC being the major drivers too, but various stakeholders like the ICMR community that you lead. Very well noted. Now, the regulators, of course, have been advised to be proactive and not reactive when it comes to technology. For example, we have sandboxes. We have the Securities and Exchange Commission has had its sandbox. It set up the Fintech roadmap. And of course, let's look at how they can be more effective in the age of robotics, artificial intelligence, big data, machine learning, analytics, etc. How do you like to see the pathway of regulation in this regard going forward?
I know that the SEC, for example, has set up a regulatory sandbox. All right. But the interesting bit is that the players, the normal thing, all right, is that the players will be ahead of regulator any day.
Yeah.
Because regulation is required to ensure that people play in accordance with the rules. And as you develop new products and new services, new risks will emerge, which the regulator has to address. So it is typical for players to always be a step ahead of regulation. Now, what the regulatory sandbox has come to do is to ensure that where capital market operators have ideas that they want to test, they can quickly test within the confines of that sandbox. And the process of getting to approval is shortened because there's an organized procedure for doing that. What I see that is missing here is that not many people even understand how the sandbox works. So today, if you go to the website of the Financial Services Authority in the UK, you would see how their sandbox works. It's very clear what you need to do as a financial services provider or a technology company wishing to create new products and all of that. Yeah. I'm not sure how much information is out there regarding our own regulatory sandbox. The other thing is that as people bring their ideas to the regulator, they need to be sure that these ideas are protected.
Yes.
All right. So what are the guarantees that as I bring forth my idea, because I'm still in the testing stage, all right, I'm still bouncing things off with the regulator. So how am I sure that as I bring those ideas, they are safe and someone will not go and hijack? So there has to be clear a clear process, that people understand what is required of them to come into this sandbox, and that their ideas will be protected. I think that's missing, but the process is there, but I'm not sure it's working as well as it should work. Now, in terms of AI and all of that, that one of the key elements of, we talk about machine learning, we talk about artificial intelligence, we talk of analytics, but don't forget that artificial intelligence itself relies on human intelligence, all right? So if you haven't set up a procedure for machines to learn from, then what is the machine learning from? So as basic as date of birth. So imagine I want to do analytics about, conduct analytics about the people buying Access Bank shares, all right? So 100 people buy Access Bank shares every week. Let's say, for example, they bought a certain number of shares every week. If I want to do analytics, I need to know their ages. I need to know their gender. I need to know their occupation. I need to know where they live. Now, when we are collecting information from investors, what sort of information are we collecting? I go abroad and I'm asked to fill a form. One key space I need to fill is my date of birth. It's very critical because when we are doing demographics, date of birth is critical. So if you want to even know who is participating in our market today, we are guessing to a large extent, all right? We are guessing. So before we even start talking about artificial intelligence and analytics and all of that, what have we done in terms of the physical processes? Because it is those physical processes that will translate into machine processes, all right? If I don't have a process for gathering data, a robust process for gathering data, artificial intelligence is not, I'm just speaking grammar, really. So there are certain basics we need to do first before we now start talking about how we can incorporate artificial intelligence and machine learning into our processes.
Thank you very much.
The way I think, for me, really.
Yes,
thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you very much, Mr. Seyi Owotoro. I mean, very clear insights from you on how we can leverage technology and innovation to achieve a competitive Nigerian capital market. I must say that a lot to learn from, and I believe our viewers have learned, and our regulators and operators will take the keynotes and begin to wind them to key actions to move our market forward. Thank you once again, Mr. Seyi Owotoro is the President and Chairman of Council, Institute of Capital Market Registrars. Thank you once again for the time.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
And that'll be all for this edition of the Market Review Show. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions on leveraging technology and innovation for a competitive Nigerian capital markets, please send them to otobasido@proexchange.com. And also, you can join our website, www.proexchange.com, to get the latest stories, articles, and reports on what's happening in the capital markets. You can also engage us via our social media platforms displayed on the screen. Don't forget that you need to be informed to make the right investment decisions. Thank you for watching, and keep discussing the financial and capital markets because they create wealth and economic opportunity.